Update. Thank you all for your kind messages and advice. I would never have expected to get such valuable support and insight from strangers on the internet. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. We came together with my brother and his fiancée after I had many of your replies to my husband and my sister. I stated clearly that I will support her in any way possible and that it's very important for me to welcome her home to the family properly. But the jewelry is off the table because I believe I am fulfilling my mother's wishes and I cannot hurt my daughters. I added that I believe that this is not the right way to join a family and that we should strive to resolve this conflict before it creates more tension between my daughters and their uncle and future aunt, and also amongst us siblings. At first, I thought my brother really saw my point, and he seemed happy that we offered to pitch in together to buy something for his fiancée. Unfortunately, she is not willing to accept this. As some of you pointed out, she seems to believe that she ranks right beside my sister and me when it comes to our late mother and supersedes my daughters. While she talked about her rightful place in the family and how she went no contact with her family because they denied her the respect that she deserves, and that she will not hesitate to do the same with us. She also talked a lot about the pain of not being able to have any heirloom jewelry for her wedding. And honestly, only a few days ago, I would have given in presented with her tears. But thanks to your kind words, I was able to see through her emotional manipulation. And really, now that I am aware of what she's doing, it is so obvious. I must say, my brother looked very uncomfortable. She then stated that it would be a waste to give the pieces to my daughters since they would just sell them for the money to buy makeup, which is absurd. I ended the conversation at this point, stating that I hold firm to my boundary and that they are free to do whatever they feel is the right thing for them. I am heartbroken and I hope my brother will change his mind. So, no happy ending, but thanks again. Original post. This is my first Reddit post, throwaway. Also, English is not my first language. My 53-year-old female mother passed away 10 years ago, and I inherited a few select items of jewelry from her. Those are things she cherished and wore often. I have been wearing her watch for the past 10 years. My sister, 50-year-old female, holds a golden bracelet that she loves. And there are 3 items left that my sister and I have been planning to give to my 3 daughters, 20, 18, 18, to commemorate 10 years since her passing. They always knew this and were close to their grandma. There is also no quarrel about who gets what. Enter my brother, 48-year-old male, and his fiancée, 38-year-old female of 2 years. My brother is demanding one of the pieces for his future wife to wear. He claims we never involved him in any discussion as to what should happen to the pieces, and we can't just claim those to ourselves just because we are women. He says it's very common for heirloom jewelry to be given to the daughter-in-law, and he and his fiancée even cited Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton as examples. Legally, there is no case to be made. My mother left those items to me. I have politely declined their request, explaining that I can't let one of my daughters go without, and that they were very close to their grandma while his fiancée did not know her. His fiancée is apparently distraught and claims we don't see her as family. My father wants me to keep the items and give one to my brother so that all of my mom's kids eventually get one item, and I can do as I see fit with the rest. My sister kindly has offered up her bracelet. I am torn. I don't want to antagonize my brother and my sister-in-law, but I find my 3 daughters' claims so much more valid. They have been looking forward to this for years, and I don't want my sister to sacrifice her bracelet. If there were more pieces, I would not hesitate to give something to her. It's not a matter of money. I have offered other things out of my mom's estate, but they feel it's not the same. I am also taking into account that my brother was married to his first wife 10 years ago, and despite having been close to my mother, she got no jewelry either, but was left 2 of my mother's watercolor drawings. I feel like my mother left those pieces to me with the intention of eventually passing them on to her granddaughters. Would she have subscribed to the each child or each daughter plus daughter-in-law has to get a piece of jewelry logic? She would have left something to my brother or his then wife in the first place. My daughters told me they would accept any decision I make, but I feel it would be highly unfair to burden them with any involvement in the decision-making. The choice is mine to make, and I have to live with the consequences. According to my father, they are debating to uninvite me from the wedding over this. I stand by my decision, but it's hard. I was always on good terms with my brother and cordial with his fiancée. So am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. How is this even a question? Your brother's ex might have had a basis for feelings about it 10 years ago, but in any case, your mother made her decision, and someone entering the discussion 8 years later doesn't get to change things. So much not the idiot. It sounds like this was decided 8 years before your brother met his fiancée, so there's no basis for him or her to feel slighted. Comment 2. Not the idiot and pretty awful that her first concern when joining the family is getting her hands on property she has no claim to, at the risk of damaging her relationships with her in-laws. Following her logic, is she bringing heirlooms from her maternal line to give to you and your sister? After all, you are family now. For the update. Thank you for the update and for sharing your story with us. It's clear that this situation has been challenging for you and your family, but it's great to hear that you were able to have a conversation with your brother and his fiancée to address the issue. It sounds like the meeting didn't go as smoothly as you had hoped, but you handled it with grace and stood your ground. It's unfortunate that your brother's fiancée is unwilling to accept the compromise of pitching in to buy her something special, and her emotional manipulation tactics are concerning. It's understandable that you ended the conversation when she made the absurd comment about your daughter selling the jewelry for makeup money. It's clear that your brother's fiancée has some deep-seated issues related to her own family, and it seems like she's projecting those onto your family dynamic. Her belief that she ranks beside you and your sister when it comes to your late mother is misguided, and it's not fair for her to expect to supersede your daughter's claim to the heirloom jewelry. It's heartbreaking that your brother is caught in the middle of this conflict, and it's understandable that you hope he will change his mind. It's possible that he's feeling torn between his loyalty to his fiancée and his love for his family, and it can't be easy for him to navigate this situation. Despite the lack of a happy ending, it's important to remember that you did the right thing by standing firm in your decision. Your mother left those pieces to you with the intention of passing them on to her granddaughters, and it would be unfair to go against her wishes. Your daughters have been looking forward to this for years, and they deserve to have that special connection to their grandmother. It's also commendable that you offered other items from your mother's estate as a compromise, even though your brother and his fiancée didn't feel it was the same. It shows that you're willing to find a solution that works for everyone, even if it's not exactly what they want. Moving forward, it's important to continue to communicate openly and honestly with your family, even if it's difficult. It may take time for your brother and his fiancée to come around, but by standing your ground and maintaining your boundaries, you're setting a healthy precedent for your family dynamic. Thank you again for sharing your story with us, and know that you have the support of this community as you navigate this challenging situation. Am I the idiot for reporting my neighbor's kids' bikes to management and getting them removed? First and foremost, I want it to be known that I have no issues with kids. As someone with a lot of experience working in childcare, I have a lot of patience. I'm at the end of this patience and want to know if what I've done is justified. My apartment is known for tight parking. There are probably 20 spots for 20 apartments. There are no rules for parking, which causes issues from time to time with getting a spot near my building. Typically, it doesn't bother me, as it's to be expected. My neighbors have 2 kids, roughly 6 and 11, they don't take responsibility for. As a tame example, we have quiet hours set at 9:30 p.m. on weekdays. These kids have been in the hallway screeching. I am talking stuck pig, would have called the police fearing child endangerment kind of screeching, at midnight or even 1 a.m. on weeknights. The parents do nothing about it. To put it gently, these kids think they can do whatever they want, no consequences. Summer is arriving, and the weather has been great. The kids across from me have also been enjoying this weather, except they're enjoying it so much that one of them, 11-year-old, has taken to blocking the parking spots in my complex by parking his bike in the middle of one and standing there on his phone for hours. The parents watch this happen. The dad sometimes goes out and bring the bike back into their apartment late at night. Emphasis on sometimes. I've talked to them about this, as recently I've had to park over 5-10 minutes away from my building because of the kid taking up an entire parking spot. The father shrugs and laughs and does nothing about it. Next point is where I am unsure if I'm the jerk. Our complex has strict rules about personal items taking up public spaces, planters, grills, and most relevantly, bikes. They've sent emails stating they're not responsible for reimbursing personal items removed from the public spaces. I came home from a particularly stressful day, and the kid was in the only spot left near my building. I asked him nicely to move his bike so I could park. The kid stared at me, then laughed as he left his bike and went inside. His father watched all of this from their patio and did nothing. After parking 3 buildings over, I'd had enough. I called the complex and reported a bike taking up parking. Within half an hour, maintenance came and took it. Next morning, I woke up to screeching from this kid. His dad realized what happened and came over to yell at me. Pissed at being woken up at 7 a.m. on my one day off, I responded, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes," before I shut the door and went about my day. Part of me feels justified, but there's a part of me that feels bad this kid won't have a bike for the majority of this summer. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I would have just tossed the bike out of the way if he left it personally. Don't want me throwing the bike? Don't leave it in my parking spot. Maybe have a squirt bottle or something to spray the kid too. Comment 2. Not the idiot, but the kid and the parents sure are. I highly doubt that maintenance threw the bike away. The parents need to go claim it back. Going forward, call every single time. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments and support on my last post. It's been a busy couple of weeks since I last updated you all. So after the whole bike incident, things were pretty tense around the apartment complex. The kid was constantly giving me dirty looks, and his dad would just glare at me whenever we crossed paths. I tried to brush it off and go about my business, but it was hard to ignore the tension. A few days after the bike was taken, I came home from work to find my car had been keyed. Deep, jagged scratches all along the driver's side. I was furious. I knew it had to be the kid or his dad, but I had no proof. I filed a police report and talked to the complex management, but there wasn't much they could do without evidence. I thought about setting up a camera to catch them in the act, but I didn't want to stoop to their level. Instead, I decided to take the high road and try to smooth things over. I baked some cookies and went over to their apartment to apologize for how things had escalated. The dad answered the door and just stared at me coldly. I offered the cookies as a peace offering, but he just laughed and said, "You think some cookies are going to fix this? You messed with my kid, and now you're going to pay." I was taken aback by his threat, but I tried to remain calm. I explained that I never meant for things to go this far, and that I was just frustrated with the parking situation. He wasn't having it, though. He told me to watch my back and slam the door in my face. Over the next week, things only got worse. I'd find trash scattered around my front door, and one morning I even found a dead rat on my welcome mat. I was starting to feel unsafe in my own home. I kept reporting the incidents to management, but without any hard evidence, there wasn't much they could do. The final straw came when I was walking to my car one evening, and I heard the kid yell, "There she is!" followed by the sound of something whizzing past my head. I turned to see the kid and his friends laughing and holding rocks in their hands. They had thrown a rock at me. I was shaking with anger and fear. I yelled at them to stop, but they just kept laughing and taunting me. I ran back inside and called the police. When they arrived, the kids had scattered, but the dad was still there. He claimed he had no idea what I was talking about, and that his kid had been inside with him all evening. The police said there wasn't much they could do without any witnesses or evidence. I felt trapped and helpless. I started looking for a new place to live, but with my lease not up for another 6 months, I was stuck. I tried to avoid the family as much as possible, but it was hard living in such close proximity. That's when I remembered something from my childhood. When I was about the same age as the kid, I had a neighbor who was always causing trouble. My mom had complained to his parents countless times, but nothing ever changed. Finally, she decided to take matters into her own hands. She started keeping a detailed log of every incident, no matter how small. She documented dates, times, and exactly what happened. After a few months, she had a stack of evidence a mile high. She took it to the police and the kids' parents, and they couldn't ignore it anymore. The family ended up moving away not long after. I decided to take a page out of my mom's book and start documenting everything. Every time I found trash outside my door, every threatening look or comment, I wrote it down. I even started keeping a camera in my car to catch any future vandalism. It's been a tough few weeks, but I'm not going to let them drive me out of my home. I'm going to stand my ground and fight back with the power of documentation. I know it won't be easy, but I'm not going to let them win. I'll keep you all updated on how things go. Thanks again for all the support and advice. It means a lot to know I'm not alone in this. Am I the idiot for declining an escape room invite because my brother-in-law who made a pass at me will be there? Cross-post from the home team, THT. A little bit of context. I, 22-year-old female, until a few months ago lived with my sister, 28-year-old female, and her husband, 31-year-old male. In January, I had an errand to run after work that would take less than 10 minutes, driving time included. As I was getting in my car, my sister stopped me and said that my brother-in-law, Bael, had to go to the same place, so we should just go together. I really insisted that I would just go alone and I didn't want to ride with him, but after a lot of convincing, I eventually caved. Brother-in-law said he was putting pants on and we would leave in a minute. I had worked a 10-hour shift starting at 4 a.m. that day, so I was really tired and just wanted to get this done and go to sleep. So after waiting for half an hour and him still not being ready, I just left by myself and went to bed. I wasn't mad about it, just tired. So I just forgot about the whole incident. After that, I started to notice brother-in-law blatantly ignoring me or making mean comments about me. So after about a month, I asked him if I had done something and was willing to apologize because I didn't want to have conflict. He said no, but he continued to ignore me and be rude. In March, I was really struggling financially, and my sister told me she was going to let me not pay rent that month because she knew I was broke. However, brother-in-law said not to help me because he was pissed at me and wanted to make sure I struggled in life and that I didn't deserve help from them. She said he was still mad about what happened in January and was pissed that I never apologized. I asked why he didn't say anything when I asked him, and he said he shouldn't have to tell me how I disrespected him. I should just remember. So I just apologized to him for not remembering, and I didn't mean to disrespect him. He still ignores me and makes rude comments, so I am protecting my peace and making sure to stay low contact with brother-in-law. I have my own apartment now, so I don't have to live with him anymore. A few days ago, my sister invited me to go do an escape room with her and some family this Friday, and I immediately said yes. After I found out brother-in-law is coming too, I told her that since he is going, I'd rather stay home and that we should go another time without him as a girls' night. My sister said she thought I was joking in March when I said I didn't want to speak to brother-in-law again. Now my sister and mom are saying I'm a witch and I should just get over it, and that I'm having a dramatic reaction to an insignificant comment. Should I get over it and still go, or stick to my gut and stay home? Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. Get over it? But it's still happening. He never stopped being horrible. You can't be expected to get over something that's still an issue. Also, I wanted to make sure I struggled in life. This isn't an insignificant comment. It sounds like a freaking threat. I don't know why your family is treating you like that, but if they aren't going to stick up for you, it's down to you to stick up for yourself. Comment 2. Is this the same sister and brother-in-law who made you believe you were stalked and in danger of being kidnapped and attacked for a prank? If that's the case, I have to ask why you're still in contact with your brother-in-law, considering he's never seemed to have stopped emotionally harassing you since then. Not the idiot, and stay away from them all for your own safety. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last post and a lot has happened in the past 3 months. After I decided not to go to the escape room with my sister and brother-in-law, things got really tense between us. My sister kept trying to convince me to just get over it and come, saying I was being immature and holding a grudge. But I stuck to my guns and stayed home that night. The next day, my sister showed up at my apartment unannounced, demanding to talk. She said brother-in-law felt I was overreacting and that I needed to apologize to him for disrespecting him back in January. I tried to explain again that I had already apologized multiple times and that his continued coldness and rude comments were the issue, not me. But she wouldn't hear it. She accused me of trying to drive a wedge in her marriage and said if I couldn't be civil with brother-in-law, then maybe we needed some distance from each other. I was really hurt by this. My sister and I have always been close, and I hated that brother-in-law was coming between us. Over the next few weeks, she stopped inviting me to family get-togethers and wouldn't return my calls. I felt so alone and isolated from my family. Looking back, I realize I made a big mistake in how I handled things with brother-in-law after that night in January. I should have been more direct in addressing the issue head-on, rather than just trying to smooth things over with an apology he clearly didn't accept. I let his poor treatment of me go on for way too long without standing up for myself. You see, this isn't the first time brother-in-law has caused issues in my family. A few years ago, right after he and my sister got engaged, he got into a huge argument with our mom. He felt she was too involved in the wedding planning and said some really nasty things to her. It caused a big rift and my mom almost didn't attend their wedding, but my sister begged her to let it go for the sake of the family. I think my mom has always resented having to swallow her pride with brother-in-law. As for me, I had my own reasons for not wanting to be around brother-in-law, which I never told my sister about. The truth is, he made a pass at me at their wedding reception. He was drunk and cornered me coming out of the bathroom, saying how hot I looked and that he'd always thought there was a spark between us. I was shocked and disgusted. I pushed him away and avoided him the rest of the night. I never said anything because I didn't want to ruin my sister's big day or marriage, but being around him after that always made my skin crawl. With all this history, I should have known better than to let his bullying go unchecked. By not standing up to him directly, I allowed the situation to escalate until it blew up my relationship with my sister. She eventually stopped speaking to me altogether. It all came to a head last month when my mom ended up in the hospital for emergency surgery. My sister didn't even call to tell me. I found out from an aunt. When I rushed to the hospital, my sister and brother-in-law were already there. The doctors were saying my mom needed a blood transfusion, but she has a rare blood type. Brother-in-law volunteered to donate since he's O negative, the universal donor. Watching him be there for my mom when I hadn't been around, I felt so ashamed and petty for letting everything get so out of hand. After the successful transfusion, I pulled my sister aside and broke down, apologizing for everything and telling her about what happened with brother-in-law at her wedding. She was horrified that he would do that to me and furious that I'd kept it a secret all these years. When she confronted him about it, he claimed he was too drunk to remember, but that he was sorry if he'd made me uncomfortable. My relationship with my sister is still strained, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully forgive brother-in-law. But we're slowly starting to mend fences for the sake of our mom and family. I've learned the hard way that stuffing down my feelings and avoiding conflict only makes things worse in the long run. I need to get better about being honest, even when it's difficult, and not letting anyone mistreat me, family or not. Anyway, that's the gist of what's been going on. Thanks for reading, and for all the advice on my original post. I really appreciate the support. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.